Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the BF Pregame Show. I am one of your hosts, Rico. I got my co-host next to me, my guy Ev. I got my guy at the bottom right here, Zach, the Don. I'm gonna call you the Don, and he's drinking some beer right now. What are you drinking, big fella? What are you drinking?
It's a berry kettle sour from Grist Iron Brewing. It's really good. Had it over the summer, like we actually went to the brewery and I found it in a can at Wegmans. So I was
There you
like,
go.
yep, getting it in a craft pack.
Can't go wrong with that. Ev, are you drinking anything right now?
Good old Wegman spring water. We're 18. We don't drink here. We don't drink
There
here.
you go. There you go. Well, gentlemen, welcome to another edition. We've got some things to talk about. I think the first thing that is in order is we got to talk about this inactive list. Evan, start us off. Tell us who is inactive.
Yeah, right down the list. It starts with a notable name at the start of the season, but not pretty notable now. And Zach Moss. Damar Hamlin's been inactive for the last couple of weeks. Cody Ford, a guy who we thought was kind of coming up on the upspurts from the Saints game. He's inactive again, obviously with the return of John Feliciano. It's going to kind of boot Cody Ford down the line already more than he already has. Tommy Sweeney, again, he hasn't been impactful this season, but,
True.
again, is kind of a surprising inactive in my opinion. Vernon Butler, I don't really need to say much about that. Boogie Basham, a little surprised. I don't know. I thought Boogie's been playing kind of solid the last couple of weeks. Nothing like out of the world, but he's been having a couple nice plays here and there. And obviously, Lotulelei is out. We all saw that Friday in Sean McDermott's press conference. But
right.
Yeah,
Wow.
Star's out as well.
Zach, I gotta ask you, man. Who is your most surprise inactive on this list?
Surprises. I would say the most surprising one for me, well, I guess would probably have to be Boogie Basham because, like Evan was saying, he's been playing decently, and that's kind of a by default surprise because Star hasn't been healthy. Ford sucks. Butler sucks. Tommy Sweeney's injured and hasn't done much. So yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go right to Evan. Evan, on that list, there's someone that you're like, that is the proper move for that person to be inactive, or maybe there might be two. Who stands out to you? That's the one that should have been inactive.
Yeah, in my opinion, a proper move is two guys. It's Zach Moss and Cody Ford. Again, I was a big Zach Moss guy at the beginning of the year. I was riding Zach Moss and as far as I can go. But again, Zach Moss just hasn't been cutting it. He just doesn't get to the hole that fast, and he doesn't really do much. He's supposed to be this big pounding back. How many times where it's been 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, we're going to give the ball to Zach Moss, and it's like, he didn't pick it up. He's supposed to be this bruising back. He's not bruising the pile. He's not doing much. He's kind of losing more yards than he is gaining yards. In a second one, not a surprise. I think it's good. Cody Ford. Again, Feliciano's back. Cody Ford's probably arguably our worst offensive guard. So with Feliciano, kick him out. A surprise, like Zach mentioned, Boogie Basham. I would have liked to see Boogie in there. Again, we spent a 2nd-round pick on this guy. If you're not going to play him, what was the point of using a pick on him? You could have drafted a guy like Javonte Williams, moved up in the draft and got him.
Minerts.
Yeah, anyone. Really. Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey. Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You guys playing at an all-pro level.
You guys are speaking my language because I'm completely with you. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty, we got to give a big shout out to those that are tuning in to the pregame show. Yes, we're not playing at 1 o'clock. It's a 4 o'clock game. It's a 5 o'clock game for me because of where I live at. But we got to give a big shout out to folks that are watching from Facebook and on the YouTube page. Robert Aldrich, I see you from the Facebook. I see my man Charity's in the building. I know you had a little baby boy the other day, Charity, I think. So I hope baby boy or baby girl is healthy. Jay Davis, I see you. Jay. Zachary King's in the building. Heather Hathaway, the she cave. I like it. For those that have a man cave, guess what? Women are doing their damn thing too, and then naming the damn basement. And we have Heather Hathaway calling it the she cave, and I respect it heavily.
I got the Bucks inactives here.
Oh, you got the Bucks. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. So give me the Bucks inactives. What do you got? Who is playing and who's not? Richard Sherman, is he in?
He's in. It looks like he's in. But they do have a couple defensive backs that aren't playing in Pierre Desir, the former Jet, Jordan Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead, who's a solid player. Scotty Miller isn't playing. Kyle Trask, the rookie quarterback, and defensive lineman Stephen McLendon. I want to say that's who pronounced his name. So a couple noticeable names, but nothing
Pierre
Nothing
Desir
like
is not. He's more no more than
No.
a depth player. I like Pierre Desir. I've been tracking his career for some time now. Time with the Colts, and then went to the Jets. I thought he was going to go to the Bills, and he's been quite a few places. But nobody on that list is like, oh, that guy's out, because nobody stands up. So they're
probably except Jordan Whitehead.
They're pretty. Is Jordan Whitehead
Yeah.
is he a contributor? I guess that's the question. I
Yes, he's a contributor. He's a solid part of their defensive backfield.
So Jordan,
he can make plays.
So we got
solid player.
Winfield is the. I'm just gonna look at my. Maybe 2 seconds here. I'm looking at their roster because Whitehead. I'm like, I'm aware of Whitehead, but I'm like, I don't know how big of a contributor he was, or a big loss he's going to be to that defense. But
yeah, he's made a couple impactful plays over the years for them.
Well, there you have it. So back to our list here. So Zach Moss being out, but I will say this: I'm glad that they noticed that this is not the guy. He clearly isn't. I feel like he's like he disappointed last week, and if anybody with a right mind would have seen what we saw, and it was just sheer disappointment. And you're supposed to be we drafted you in the 3rd round for you to be able to be at some point lead back, because we drafted you clearly because we didn't feel that Singletary was number 1 type back material. So we brought in the big bruiser type of guy, and you just haven't panned out the way we wanted to. I really wanted him to pan out. He's got the physical traits. He's got the look, pass blocking ability. Yes, he has that over Singletary, but that's it. So they said you got to go. So it's going to be the Breida and the Singletary show. Now, what's interesting is they have McKenzie and Stevenson in the backfield. So 2 guys that have one skill set that is the same, and that's speed. Here's a question. Could we see Stevenson play the role of Cordell Patterson in the backfield, coming in and out, jet sweeps, and maybe he pretends to do jet sweeps and then steps back into the backfield as a running back? Zach, could we see that, or am I stretching here? They're just going to go with the 2-back system.
I don't think it's a stretch to say they could do it, especially because I really want to see them do it. But to be realistic, they're probably just going to go with Breida and Singletary and go very vanilla in the run game, because that's just all they seem to be able to do and not do effectively. But it would be nice to see them mix it up a bit, get creative. That's how Daboll was able to confound defenses last year. He was creative. You got to get back to that. Put McKenzie in the backfield. Remember the Chiefs game earlier this year when they put McKenzie in the backfield and did a read option? Do some of that stuff. That's actually, I think, how Josh Allen got that 1 touchdown. It was one of those plays. Do stuff like that. Put McKenzie in the backfield, put Stevenson in the backfield, do the jet motions. And if you're going with 7 receivers, you're probably thinking, yeah, we're going to try something. So be creative, but I'm also not holding my breath on it.
So one thing that I'm curious about, because I just saw somebody mention that Antonio Williams is in the lineup. I haven't searched my phone yet, but that's something that I have been, pushing for. Like, we need to do something. So instead of, maybe it may not be a 2-back system, we might be looking at a 3-back system. Now, I don't want to be incorrect here, so I'm going to make sure that I'm looking at exactly what I need to see. And as I'm checking this out as we go, Matt Breida, Tywan Jones, Reggie Gilliam. No.
Yeah,
you almost had me, sir. You almost had me. It's going to be Matt Breida, Tywan Jones, Devin Singletary, and Reggie Gilliam is going to be back in. So good try. You almost duped my ass thinking Antonio Williams is going to be there. But it's just going to be, like I said, a 2-back system. Tywan Jones is going to be special teams, and so is Reggie Gilliam. But Reggie being back allows us to go to, more 12 personnel, full back in there. And hopefully we can switch things up a little bit. So here's the real question to you fine folks, right? When you're looking at what we did last week, which we know that it was kind of it was a weird game. Let's be real with each other. It was a strange game, but getting the ball run on us 40 plus times straight, we're over that. We get it. So now we're going into this brand new game with a quarterback that we're very familiar with. How do these Bills bounce back? That's been the biggest question all week long. So, Evan, I'm going to start with you. We need a big bounce back. How? Where? Who are we reaching out to? Who are we going to lean on? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, if any team's going to win this league, they're always going to have to lean on their star player, whoever that is. And our star player is Josh Allen / Stephon Diggs. Those are our two guys, and those are our two best playmakers that we have on this roster currently. And those are the guys you're going to have to lean on for this team to succeed. Whether that's the way you want it or not, it doesn't matter. We don't have a run game. We don't really have a supportive offensive line. We don't know where this defense is as of right now because we don't know how it's going to play in today's matchup with Trey White out, because obviously Godwin and Evans and others are big time receivers.
Right.
So we don't know how much the defense is going to be able to kind of make up for that today. It's Josh Allen and the rest of the supporting cast around him. But mainly, we're going to have to lean on Josh Allen. And if we're really going to want to win this game and games going forward, we're going to have to reach out to Josh Allen, kind of look up into the sky like we're looking up, up there and be like, Josh, come on. You got to give us something. We don't know what he's going to give us today, but I think he's going to give you a good performance and really kind of rally the troops and give the Bills some hope going forward, because it's hard to look at it right now.
It is hard to look at it. And I'm gonna dive a little deeper in this, because a lot of folks that what you just said is what a lot of Bills fans, including myself, have been saying. Like, this is where Josh has to put it on his shoulders and he's got to take it. But then most people are like, but that's what he's been trying to do, and it hasn't been working, right? Jags game, Dolphins game, you name it. Like, it's just like he puts it on his shoulder, but sometimes he has to go hero Josh that a lot of people don't like. So instead of him putting everything on his shoulders, who is going to help? Who is going to stand out to help him out? Who do we need, Zach? Zach, who needs to be a role player, but more beyond a role player, a contributing player to helping us get over the hump? And we already know Stephon Diggs is one. We need that. Who is somebody else that we can depend on that's going to get us over that hump?
Yeah, actually, I was just going to lead off my point by saying Stephon Diggs will be involved regardless of whoever I say, because he's always going to get his touches. He's going to get his looks. He's a wide receiver one. He'll get his looks.
Yep.
But what they need is the rest of the receiving core to step up. You need Cole Beasley to find underneath stuff in the slot. You need Emmanuel Sanders to get open. You need to get him involved. But I feel like maybe the one guy, if I had to pick one, who seems to be doing well when he's targeted, but not getting a lot of stuff, is the guy that you just posted right up there that was just said in the comments, Gabriel Davis. And I'm not going to say this just because he's having a family reunion at Raymond James Stadium, basically. But also because it's true. Like last week on Monday, they got their touchdown on that post route to Davis. I feel like there were some stats out there that were saying that, like, Allen, when he targets Davis, is doing really well. It's very efficient. He's proven he can do things. He can do good things. He just needs the chance. And obviously now we see the inactives. They only have one tight end in Reggie Gilliam, who's probably going to be their tight end too. And you have all these receivers. Do we see a bit more of a platoon into the receiving core where maybe Davis gets a bigger chance? And I think that they need to.
Well, here's the deal. I think when you gentlemen said it right before we hopped on, this is going to be an air raid. You feel me? This is going to be air attack, air assault. If we're going to go down, I mean, it might be too soon to talk about going down with the ship, but if we're going to go down with the ship, we got to go down with the ship in doing things that we are best at doing, and that is throwing the ball, and that is getting the ball in the hands of the best guy on the squad, and that's Josh Allen. So with that being said, I'm going to agree with you. Gabe Davis is going to play a big part. I think Emmanuel Sanders is going to play a big part in this as well. Emmanuel Sanders has been kind of quiet the last, couple weeks. He hasn't been as targeted and as effectively in the offense as he was at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, he was doing quite well. So we need everybody to contribute. But the most important thing, and I don't want to shy away from it. And it's easy to shy away from this department I'm going to talk about, and that's the run game, right? I don't want to shy away from it, because anytime you shy away from the run game, you become 100% depending on the pass. You're not going to go far, right? And especially if we're in win now mode, and win now mode means you're in playoff mode. Well, guess what? When you get to the playoffs, it's all about trying to have as much balance as possible, but being effective when taking care of the offensive woes that we've been dealing with, which is running the freaking ball. So if we can get our act together, I think we can do some big things. So this game, I'm looking at the schedule, right? And who these Tampa Buccaneers have played, right? So week 1 Cowboys game, that was a nail biter. I mean, I think we all remember that one. And it was just a matter of Dak just not putting enough plays together to win the game. Then you have the Falcons. Then they lost to the Rams, which is okay. The Rams are a solid team, but not as of late. And then they went on a win streak. But then they lost to two interesting games. They lost to the Saints, and I believe Jameis Winston was the quarterback still at the time, if I remember.
Trevor Siemian was in for them.
Siemian? It was Trevor Siemian's first start, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, so Winston was in, I believe, got hurt, and then Siemian came in and kind of glued the game together and held it for the Saints.
Okay, so the Saints upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 36-20. We just played the same Trevor Siemian Saints and so on and so forth. I mean, no depleted without Kamara and Ingram, obviously, but the same Saints was not we took care of them matchups, right? Then they lost just a bizarre one to the Washington football team, and now we are in no position to speak because we lost to the damn Jaguars, right? And the Jaguars haven't won shit since, not that to my knowledge, right? So 2 losses in a row, and then they've just been on a win streak, right? But they played the Giants, they played the Colts, which was a nail biter, and then obviously the Falcons, and now they're facing the Bills. Now, here's the deal. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. These Bills are, would you guys agree, inconsistent?
Definitely
Inconsistent, right? Okay, so these last several games, we've won and lost, and won and lost, and won. So we haven't lost. We haven't put 2 wins together consecutively, nor have we lost, right? We're going up against a very tough team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, we lost last game, so the trend should be that we win this game. Problem is, we're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anytime that we bounce back with a victory, we played an inferior team, which made it easy for us to just get that W. This is a little different. We're bouncing back against a very good team. How do you see this game playing out? Where are we going to have our problems? Zach, we're going to start with you. Where do we have our problems facing these Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I would say offensively, the problem will be whether or not they can actually give Allen the time to be able to pass the ball effectively. Because, the defensive front for the Buccaneers, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, JPP, they have a monster of a front that can make your night a living hell if you don't block decently enough. Absolutely. And considering the Bills have had offensive line woes, that's going to be a big thing to look out for. Defensively, the Bills will have to also be able to contain the Bucs' big plays, because do I even need to list off all the Bucs playmakers they got? I mean, I will.
I want you to name them because they had to
Evans, Godwin, Gronk, Fournette, Ronald Jones to an extent, but it's more just the Fournette show.
Yep.
Like, even Fournette, by the way, is a sneaky good receiving back. He is having, I think it's his second best career year as a receiving back this year right now. And obviously it helps that Brady does have a propensity for checking down to the running backs a lot.
Right.
But also, speaking of Fournette, he's their main rushing threat. So if the Bills want to get right on run defense, this would be a good game to do it. But, and I'm not saying that Fournette's going to run all over the Bills like he ran all over the Falcons or whoever it was a couple weeks ago,
right? That
put up like almost 50 fantasy points. But I'm also not saying it won't happen.
Okay.
If I'm the Bills, you got to be concerned about the Bucs offense and how balanced it is. Like, Brady can beat you deep. He can beat you short. He can hand it off, and Fournette can beat you. You just got to, they have so many playmakers. You just got to keep an eye on everyone. And it's about how much you can limit him on that side of the ball.
That is going to be a tough deal. Listen, this team presents a lot of challenges, and that's for sure. And before we get to my man Evan, I got a question or a comment, a super chat from my guy Zachary Cap. Zachary says, "I think this game will be decided by how well Sanders and Davis play." Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be just about those two. I think there's going to be a lot more that factor into what we do offensively. Don't forget, they have quite a bit of some offensive firepower on that side of the ball. Like my man Zach just rhymed off a couple. So we have our hands full. We definitely have our hands full. So this is where Evan comes in. Evan, I need your expertise here, man. If you're Sean McDermott, what is your strategy for this game, man? Like, what do you think that what role did he play this week, and how he's setting his guys up? What do you think that he kind of put the game plan? Like, what's on the game plan for the menu today?
Well, obviously, you never know the exact game plan an NFL head coach is going to kind of roll in for his guys heading into a week like this. But I can tell you this, they got playmakers like Zach mentioned. You got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Those are the two most notable names that are their main pass catchers, in my opinion. Chris Godwin's a guy who can line up inside and out, and that's something they're going to use. Chris Godwin isn't a small slot receiver. He's a bigger bodied slot receiver that can play outside and inside. He made a lot of his money routes through through in the slot, but ever since Brown's been out, he's been outside. So that's going to be kind of an interesting matchup to see how Sean McDermott schemes that up. And obviously Mike Evans, they're always going to take their shots to Mike Evans, no matter where he is on the field. If they line up in the slot or outside, they will throw the ball no matter who is the covering corner on that play. And Gronk, Gronk's been playing at a high level ever since he's came back from his injury. He started off the year red hot, got injured, came back. He's still playing hot. I believe he had 2 touchdowns last week or the week prior. And like Zach mentioned, Leonard Fournette, coming out of the 2017 draft out of LSU, Leonard Fournette was the consensus #1 back. And for the first couple of years in the league, his first year was really solid. But the couple of years after that, it was just kind of like, well, CMC, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, these guys are all better backs. And Fournette really didn't live up to the hype. Not saying that Fournette is on the level of those guys, but, he's there. Like, Fournette is a borderline top 12 running back. Fournette has really rejuvenated his career ever since coming to Tampa Bay. And that is something Sean McDermott's going to have to really prepare for, is some of those guys, and especially on the offensive line. Their offensive line is good as it comes in the league. Donovan Smith at left tackle. They got Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen in the inside. And Tristan Wirfs, a second-year player who's a stud tackle. I mean, right. That's as good as it gets. You got a franchise left tackle. He's not an elite left tackle, but he's a franchise left tackle. You got one of the best offensive linemen in general in Tristan Wirfs. So the edge setters, on the tackle sides for the Bucs they're set. I don't think we're going to straight up beat those two. So you're going to have to create some kind of dialed up blitz packages, whether that being some stunts through the A and B gaps. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but again, you're going to have to really confuse Brady. It's hard to do. You're going to have to do something to get Brady out of his rhythm. And again, you can't confuse him, but you're going to have to get something out of his rhythm. You're going to have to make Brady feel some way uncomfortable. Whether I don't know exactly what they're going to do to make him feel uncomfortable, but you're going to have to do something to get Brady off his rhythm, because he's got too many playmakers to mess around with.
Here's the deal with Brady. Brady is one of those quarterbacks that he's fortunate enough that he's been in this league so damn long that he's seen literally everything. He can see. I remember, I don't know if it was NFL Films. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but he gets to the line, does his pre-snap read. All right, he's already snapped a picture of what's going on. It's a play action. He gets the ball, hikes the ball. As he's turning his back, he mutters to Leonard Fournette, cover 2, and then gets into his thing. So he already tells Fournette I think it was cover 2, or he said something to Fournette, and Fournette was on it, right? This is the type of guy that we'll be playing today, which is it's going to be a headache. And you rhymed off the linemen, Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Jensen, Kappa, Tristan Wirfs. Like, that's a solid line. And as good as it gets. You would have wished that our guy Brandon Beane would have put a little more love into the offensive line rather than the defense. And I get what he was trying to do. And this is where I'm going to go with this next. If you're Beane, are you regretting? Are you regretting that? Like, shit, I should have gone double time at the defensive line. Maybe I should have just went double time on O-line. What like, you're in his mind. What are you thinking? What is he thinking? Is he regretting, or is it no? I feel really good about what we're doing. I feel good about the development that we're going to have in Tommy Doyle and our guy Spencer Brown. Is he regretting, or do you feel he feels really good about this? Zach, what do you think?
I highly doubt Brandon Beane spends the day actually regretting anything. He probably just keeps going forward. He and McDermott are kind of in lockstep. They trust their process, that it'll play out. He's probably just taking notes of keeping in mind what to do going forward, though. Like, if they don't do anything to address the offensive line this offseason, Bills fans will have a lot to be concerned about.
Well, I will say this, man. There's some people that are not too impressed with Mr. Donovan Smith. We sure can't beat Donovan Smith. Now, here's the thing. I noticed, I've seen it enough where I've been in chats, group chats, you name it. We're all in group chats somewhere off of whatever social media platform that you guys choose to be on. And a lot of times, Bills fans, we big up the team that we're about to play like they're the big bad, this, that, and the third, right? And not to say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't a good team, but we tend to big them up a lot more. I mean, let's talk about it. Mike Evans, great receiver, but Mike Evans hasn't been having the year that we all expected him to have. He's a big-time receiver, but he hasn't been that guy this year. Maybe he's slowing down. Who knows, right? We're gonna have our hands full with him, but hopefully, if he's on that downside of things, maybe there's a way that we pounce on that. Now, I bring this up because Trey White is out. We didn't get tested last week at all in terms of throwing the ball, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We are going to get tested like you would not believe. Do you trust in our defensive backfield, Evan? Do you trust in Dane Jackson? Do you trust in Jordan Poyer holding it down? Do you trust Levi Wallace, Teron Johnson, or are you a little bit shaky?
I mean, when you have an all-pro guy like Tre'Davious White go down, I think no matter what your cornerback depth is, you'll always be a little shaky. And I think that the Ravens are dealing with something like that right now. They've lost Marcus Peters. They've lost Marlon Humphrey. Jimmy Smith, their veteran corner, isn't playing. So they're really going through their cornerback depth as well. So this isn't something new for us or something new for like our teams around the league, but this is something new for us. And we're going to have to deal with it. And I think that with Levi Wallace, who's been in the league for a few years now, and Dane Jackson, who is a physical corner and can play his spot on the field, there's a chance that we might see some sort of burst that we haven't seen, because we haven't seen much of Dane Jackson. So I don't really know if we can really peg him as, is he this good of a corner? Is he that bad of a corner? We don't know. All I know, he's a physical corner, and maybe they will try to match him up on Mike Evans today. Because I can tell you right now, Dane Jackson is much more physical than Levi Wallace.
Yep. And
if Dane Jackson is your most physical outside corner, you will want him playing against Mike Evans. And I don't know I don't know who's going to be playing outside against Levi Wallace. I don't know if it's going to be Godwin or whoever. But it's just going to have to be, time will tell. I mean, again, losing Trey White sucks. And there's really not much you can say about it. It's just the next man up, because we truly don't know how it's going to play out. We didn't get tested last week, but we for sure will get tested this game.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you miss Tom Brady? The answer, listen, there is no answer to that. Tom Brady has been giving us nightmares for years. We've only beaten Tom Brady 3 times. The Bills have only beat this man 3 times. We need to make this number 4. That's his record. He's got 20. He's like 20 something in 3 versus the Bills himself and his Patriots against us. So we must find a way to take him, because we haven't had success against this man, and the stack is against us. The stack is heavily against us. So going into this game, we're gonna have our hands full. So keeping on our side of the football, now we're going with 7 receivers. 7. We have it. I can't remember the last time that we've gone with 7 active receivers at the same time. Right? It's gonna be interesting. You've got both Marquez Stevenson and Isaiah McKenzie. So are we seeing any trickery happen on kick return or punt return, especially on kick return with both guys back? And what role, now that we will be in nice weather, Florida weather, what role will Stevenson play? Even Kumaro is active this game, but he's a special teamer. So what role, Zach, I'm going to start with you. What role do you see Stevenson playing? Is he even going to get on the field, or is it just all for show? What do you see?
I'm going to take my initial gut guess here is that Stevenson will probably be the return man, and then McKenzie's just used more on offense for his speed. But I do like the idea of possibly doing a little bit of trickery on special teams and put them both out there, and then you possibly have one of those Stedman Bailey punt returns. Remember from years ago where it was like Tavon Austin was a return man, but Stedman Bailey was on the other side and he catches it and just breaks one. I highly doubt that happens though, because again, Bills seem to lack a lot of imagination this year. So,
okay, Evan, if you're looking at this squad right now, and you see 7 receivers, you're Tampa. Are you even worried about it? Or are you like, okay, hold on now. There's going to be an air raid. They're going to be throwing the rock. Or is this a chess game? We're going to make it look like we are, but we're going to go right back to trying to run the ball on us, on you guys. We know we can't, but is this a chess game, or is this we're going to actually air this thing out? What's going on?
Yeah, I like to think Sean McDermott and Brian Daboll are pretty smart NFL head coaches, and there's no way they would like to establish the run against this Bucs front seven. Like Zach mentioned earlier, they got borderline Pro Bowlers all over the place on that front seven, from the linebackers down to the defensive line. Let's scratch the run. The run isn't coming into play today. Maybe down the stretch against the Jets, Falcons, or Panthers. We'll touch back up on that in a few weeks. Yeah, but no, this is going to be an air raid game for the Bills. And when you have 7 receivers, especially with a guy like Josh Allen, any team that you're going up against will be scared, because you don't know what we're going to truthfully, do with these guys. We don't know if McKenzie's going to be the main returner or Stevenson or vice versa. We don't know how we're going to use these guys. So it'll be interesting. Definitely. I don't think we're going to try to establish a run today. I think that would be just a horrible game plan, unless they're physically giving you the run. Take it. If it's there, take it. Like, if they're only running, 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, I don't know their full defensive scheme, but if they're going to run something like that, give it a shot. Give it a shot once or twice. But other than that, I think we can expect a full air raid hour, an air raid from the Josh Allen and company. But
listen, it's gonna be an air raid hour. It's gonna be. They're relying solely on the ability for Josh Allen to take over. Like, listen, we paid you $250+ million. You got to be that dude. We are waiting for that. So it's gonna be a hell of an interesting matchup today, because some folks are saying that we match up very well against Tampa, and I think that we may be able to maybe jump on these guys a little early. You just never know. Here's my question: how do you slow down a Leonard Fournette? You know what, Zach? I'll give you this one. If you're this defense and you've seen what downhill runners have been able to do to the Bills, you've seen it. You've seen it with Taylor. You've seen it with Henry, and you most certainly saw it with Ramondre Stevenson and Mr. Damien Harris. And listen, it could have been a lot worse in other games, but here we are. How do you stop or slow down Leonard Fournette?
The only ways I could really say is, if you're the defense, you got to be able to cover your gaps and run assignments, and you got to be able to get off the blocks. Both are things that they seem to be struggling with a little bit recently, especially. Right. Obviously, it's one thing if Leonard Fournette just like runs through a gap and then like plows you over and you're doing everything right. But another thing is just the fact that it just seems like the Bills have trouble getting off the blocks. The defenders have trouble shedding blocks in order to possibly limit a big play.
Now here's my thing, and I'm gonna bring in the thigh doctor in because I got some questions from our guy, the thigh doctor. Let me bring my man Alex in. Alex, what's going on, boss man?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Did I catch you mid pouring a drink? I don't know what's going on. Oh, you are pouring a drink. My bad, man. I should have gave you some time to kind of relax yourself.
I'm good. I'm comfortable.
You good?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, fellas?
Well, we're good, man. We're just chopping it up right now. We're just trying to find out where the Bills have an edge in this game. Whether it be offensively, defensively. The question I gave to the gentleman here was, how do we slow down Leonard Fournette? How are we going to do it? Because we've been gashed by downhill runners, big, strong runners. How do we stop or slow down Leonard? You're in the room right now. You might as well give us your insight. What are your thoughts?
For the most part, I think we should keep doing what we're doing. We just can't have we can't give up the big play. Can't over pursue and give up the big hole. I mean, you go back to the Tennessee game and then you go back to the New England game. I mean, minus the Colts game, which was like, the whole game. It's just kind of one big run that kind of blew it up. So I think we had a 76-yarder with Henry, and then we had the 60-some run with Damien Harris. So plug the holes, minimize the damage, and then, try to confuse Brady. It's going to be hard to, but we've done in the past. He hasn't really done good against us lately. Knock on wood. They got Obata's active, and then you got Greg Rousseau. So get these guys dashing up the middle and get their hands up. and you clog some passing lanes.
Well,
That's our best bet.
Speaking of clog, we won't have our big fella in the middle in Star Lotulelei. What's the deal, man?
Yeah. Oh, so what's going on with him?
Yeah, talk to him. He goes, yeah.
I don't know what's up with him. It seems a little murky. So, he came back, missed 3 games with the COVID, comes back, plays 53% of the snaps, which is his season average for when he does play. Nothing looked weird. I went back, watched the film. He finished the second to last series, and then they had the other rotation in on the last series. I don't know. When you see toe, you think turf toe. It's like just a sprain of the toe. And it's weird because he went back to practice on Wednesday. There was no injury designation. Then he goes into practice on Wednesday, and then he pops up as limited, and then didn't practice. I don't know if he sprained his toe or can't rule it out. Could have the COVID toe. I don't know. So what is the COVID toe? I mean, if you guys ever had gout or heard of gout in your toe, it's just like a swollen hot toe. So they say it usually resolves in 10 to 14 days, but there's extreme cases where it goes from 2 to 6 months. Either or, it's probably presenting like a turf toe. Like, it's hard to push off, it's inflamed, and you can't really get your feet underneath you and push off. So we'll see what happens. There's nothing's coming out about it, so I don't know. We'll see. Going into next week, we'll see what it looks like.
We are definitely going into next week. It's funny that you mentioned gout because the only time I've ever known what gout was, I might be aging myself with this, but I am a big fan of a cartoon show called King of the Hill. I absolutely love it. It makes me laugh my ass off. You guys might be a little too young for that stuff, but Bobby Hill had gout and he's 12 years old. What the hell do you have gout for? That's an old man injury. And my man had gout because he was eating too much deli meat. So, hey, it is what it is. So if my guy has gout, we're not saying he has gout, but it's he's got the COVID or whatever you guys want to call it. That's where we stand. So we're gonna stay on the injury front because obviously we're gonna be missing Star Lotulelei, and we've got a lineman coming back in John Feliciano. So Feliciano coming back. I mean, he had his time on IR. So speak to us on what we can expect from him in the lineup. Is he going to be 100%? Is it's going to be murky? What are your thoughts?
No, at this point, he better be good. So he's got 6 full weeks of recovery time since the time of injury. So calf strains are tricky because you kind of push off your foot. It's your spring off muscle, so they're easy to re-aggravate. I actually sustained a nasty calf strain about 2 summers ago running up hills. Thought I blew up my Achilles, and it took about a month to 6 weeks to get right. So. And that's knowing exactly what to do. I mean, these guys are, they're professionals, so they're getting probably worked down even more than I could manage it. But, you got to assume it takes about a month, and he's got an extra 2 weeks under his belt. He should be good to go.
Well, we're hoping for it because now we're going to have a lineup of Dion Dawkins. Going to call him Daryl Dawkins. Dion Dawkins. We've got our guy John Feliciano back holding it down at left guard, which we assume that he will be a left guard. Then we're going to go with Mitch Morse. And at right guard, we got Darrell Williams and Spencer Brown. So I think that's the strongest I think we are going to be in some time now. Right. You guys feel good about these 5 guys keeping Allen clean? Evan, I'm going to go to you. You feel good about these 5?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first time all year that these 5 guys have actually played together in a game.
I'm saying, man, it's been
They did it once week 6.
Oh, they did? Okay. So twice. This will be the second time they've played all year. So there's nothing there that we really know on this offensive line, but these are our best 5 guys. And like we always mention, you got to throw out your best 5 offensive linemen, no matter where they are on the line. And hopefully these guys can just give Allen time to throw the ball. Because if you give Josh Allen any sort of time to throw the ball, he's going to carve up your defense. No matter what defense you are playing against, he will carve it up if he has time to throw. And hopefully this offensive line can create a couple more running lanes when we do run the ball, whether that being with Josh or just the actual running backs themselves, or if that's with McKenzie and Stevens in the backfield. We'll have to see. Time will tell.
What are your biggest concerns for this game? Alex, I'm going to start with you, man. What's the biggest concern you have for this game?
Yeah, don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but the team's reeling, the offense is struggling, and you got Josh Allen playing Tom Brady on a national stage. I'm worried Hero Josh comes out and he takes a licking and he gets hurt. Does some extending of the play and gets rolled up on or takes a wicked hit. That's what I'm worried about.
It's one of those situations where you're right. You're going up against. I mean, I think Tom Brady's his idol. He's been watching Tom Brady for so long, or at least he's one of his guys that he looks up to in terms of the athlete that he is. So you got a 45, I think, 44-year-old in Brady that's just seen it all, been there, done that, 7 rings. It's a lot of pressure to go up against a guy like that, man. And right now you're reeling right now. So we haven't been playing well. So this is one of those situations where Allen either becomes a stud and shows out, which he's done pretty well on primetime games, except for the last one. But it was, I mean, the events that took place with this weather wasn't great, but he's been pretty decent with these primetime games. Not that we're primetime, but 4 o'clock is a pretty big stage. So can Allen get past all this hero Josh Allen and really prevail as that guy that we paid $250 million? Zach, do you feel confident in Josh Allen in today's game? Be real.
If I'm being real, I'll say 50-50.
Oh, you hedging.
50%.
This guy hedging the bet, man.
No,
Be on
50,
one side, man.
I'm saying 50-50 because 50%, that 50% where I'm confident in him is confident in the fact that he can exploit this weak-ass Bucs secondary. But the 50% of me that is not confident is based on offensive line play and Josh's tendency to try to overextend plays and try to play hero ball, especially when they're trailing by a lot.
Well, here's the thing, and I got a question for you guys, all of you guys. We talk about the old line, we talk about the receivers, we talk about quarterback, but there's one guy pulling the strings and making all this stuff happen, and that's Brian Daboll. What do you need to see from Brian Daboll this game? Because I mean, last game was like, okay, it left us wanting more. So what do you need? Evan, I'm going to go with you. What do you need to see from Daboll this game?
Quick early throws. You got to get Josh Allen in the rhythm. You got to get Josh in a rhythm because, again, if Josh is in a rhythm, this whole team's in a rhythm. They all feed off Josh's energy.
Keep your composure.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. If Josh is in a rhythm, the whole team's in a rhythm, like I mentioned. And Brian Daboll has to scheme up short passes for Josh right out the gate. The long passes will come. They always do for any type of quarterback. Long passes will come with short success. And if Josh is succeeding right out the gate, you're moving the ball, you're getting points, you're keeping Tampa Bay on the sideline going, okay, we got to score now. That gets them playing more overly aggressive. If you can get a team playing more overly aggressive, sometimes that benefits you. Because if you get a team playing overly aggressive, the mistakes tend to come in. Now, we don't want Josh to go out and just play hero ball. We don't want Josh to go out and go 0 for 3 on his first 3 drives. We want Josh to go out in his first 3 drives in the game. We want Josh, to be above that 75 completion percentage mark. We want Josh to go out, get us 2 field goals and a touchdown. We want something like that. We want sustained drives. We want Josh in a rhythm going forward. And this is a game where Brian Daboll needs to scheme up something for that, whether that being Beasley underneath 3 times in a row, Sanders twice on a drive, Davis, Knox, whoever. If it's screen passes, if it's shallow crossers, just, dig routes, whatever Brian Daboll has in that playbook for this game, in an hour, whatever he's got to make sure it's getting Josh in a rhythm and going forward to get this team really ramped up.
And I'm gonna double down on what you just said, because that's incredibly accurate what you just said. We need to get him started, and clearly we can't get him started with the run game. It hasn't been happening. It hasn't happened all year. It's not. I don't even think we've had a 100-yard rusher this year yet. Not even. Okay. So go ahead. What were we gonna say, Evan?
Oh, I think the last time we've actually had a 100-yard rusher was it? It wasn't Devin Singletary in 2019, was it?
It was Devin Singletary. It was against Denver.
Yeah, Washington.
When he ripped off that huge one in Denver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And with that put him.
I thought it was Washington.
It was Denver, and he got it off of like a 55-yard run.
Yeah, it was like
did he have 100 yards though?
Garbage time.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I think last time we had a 100-yard rushing, that was Devin Singletary in
the past 4 years.
Listen, fam.
He's done it twice, or it's been bad.
It's not good. The last time I think we did something like that, and I don't even think he had 100 yards. It was against the Patriots last year, and we had like 200 plus yards rushing, but it was shared amongst everyone. Everyone had a game, right? So we know that this run game is definitely not going to do it. I mean, obviously we have a different runner in Matt Breida, but Breida is kind of somewhat in the doghouse, so he's got to get himself out of the doghouse with that damn fumble. I think that we kept him out of the game way too damn long. There's slap on the wrist. Okay, get your shit together and get back in there. But fam, you can't keep one of your explosive guys on the sideline because you're trying to teach him a lesson, and you got Matt Breida, Zach Moss, just not doing what we need him to do. So that being said, I'm going to double down on what you said. Getting Josh Allen started. He needs to be comfortable enough to take what is there, the dump, right? I've seen it with my own eyes where I've seen quarterback we just played, Mac Jones, dump off to get to 300 yards. You can get to 300. It doesn't take you much long. It just be accurate. Get the ball to your playmakers' hands and let them do the work. How many playmakers we got on this? Yo, listen, we got Sanders is a playmaker. He can make plays. Diggs is your number one playmaker. Okay, Dawson Knox is coming into his own. Guys, we got to stop the bullshit. We got to get this guy going early, dial up these little short routes, and get him fired up. Now, before I get into my next step, I'm going to invite another guest on. We got a 5-man panel. It's my man, Justice. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
My man, listen, I gave you a late invite, but you made it. We talking about how we got to get Josh Allen going, right? Getting this offense going. So the question was, what do you need to see from our guy, Brian Daboll? I know you're not a big fan of Daboll. You're going to have to explain yourself, sir, and explain how, because you're in a tough position. You have to explain how we need Brian Daboll to get us going, although you're not a big fan of him, but you're going to have to find a way. What are your thoughts?
Well, I used to be a huge fan of Daboll. And honestly, my I guess dislike for him is more of a disappointing type of thing. You know, it's kind of like, you know, when your brother does something that pisses you off and you're just utterly disappointed in him. You know, I think that Daboll has a very, very high ceiling, but he has a very low floor as well. You know, when he's not on it at all. And there's no creativity. Everything is vanilla. It kind of seems like he just wants Josh to go out there and just, you know, make magic on his own. I know last year we saw all types of motions. We saw all types of creativity. Forget last year, in the preseason, you know, we saw all types of creativity, and it just seems like that's not here this season, you know, from my perspective, at least. You know, when I watched the film and I watched the games over, it's just all so vanilla. And I know that, you know, the offensive line has struggles, you know, with the execution and blocking and injuries and COVID, and I get all that, but at the same time, it's your job to kind of fix those issues. You know, when you see something is lacking, it's your job to remedy that situation, you know. So you know, when, like, for instance, in the Pittsburgh game where Melvin Ingram is destroying our offensive line, but yet you still have 5 blockers, you know, you don't have any extra help, you know, there's nothing, it seems like, that, you know, he's doing to adjust, you know, to defenses a lot of the times. And of course, like I said, at his peak, he is probably one of, if not the best offensive coordinator in the league. But, you know, I know it's his grandparents died this year, and I've been trying to be patient with him. But, you know, it's just it's disappointing. So for me, what I need to see from Daboll, you know, in order to get Josh going, is we need to mix it up. You know, we need some pre-snap motions, you know, the end around reverses, pulling guards, you know, that type of thing. I don't think we've seen too much of that, especially versus New England. I feel like there was great opportunities for that, great opportunities for quarterback runs, and, you know, we just didn't see very much of it.
See, I'm going to say something. Brian Daboll, I have a theory. Brian Daboll hasn't had a quarterback like Josh Allen. So, you know, when somebody gets some nice things, they don't know how to act with their nice things, and he's had Josh Allen, and he feels like Josh Allen can do everything, right? Because he's had to help his other quarterbacks. He had Castle, he had a slew of bums, nobody on the level of Josh Allen. So when he sees that he's got such a shiny new car, he's like, yo, you can run through anything, right? But you got to help your guy. He's only still in his 4th year, so you still got to help him out. So now, that being said, I've got you guys all on the panel here, and we're going to flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Defense has been consistent. They're the only group that's been consistent. So I need you guys' help.
Is that you?
Step up. That's not me. Who's listening to Cisco? Nobody's listening to Cisco.
My mom's here in the bed. Hold on. I think she put something on. Mom, turn it off. What do you mean it's not you?
Yo, I like that. I like Alex. Yo, Alex, you're a trip, bro.
Alexa? Oh, turn it up.
Alex, you're a trip, bro. Yo, let me tell you something, man. Alex wants to get his thigh on. I'm gonna let his get his thigh on. I like that. He's giving us a side profile. Cool. He's got no rhythm though. I'm gonna give him that. I keep telling this guy, you need more rhythm.
Too stiff. Too stiff.
Just like that, he's out of here.
Oh,
You can only do non-rhythm dancing, and then we out. So we ain't gonna let this shit go off the rails. And he's
probably still dancing. He probably has no idea he's off the show.
Yeah, he's off. He's out of here. No. He's gone. You can dance all you want in the background. We ain't doing that today. So now we're gonna bring it back. See, this is where the professionalism comes in, and we bring it back. So here's the deal: we need to go on the defensive side of the ball. They're the most consistent team. They've been the most consistent department. Who do you need to step up that says, okay, you know what? If I've got to step up somewhere and make sure that these guys don't do anything, who are you looking at? I'm gonna start with Evan. Start off, and then I'm gonna go down to Justice, and now I'll go to my man Zach.
Yeah, I think it all kind of starts with obviously Tremaine Edmunds. He calls the defensive plays. He's essentially the defensive captain alongside of Poyer and Hyde. And I think we can all say here we've had our ups and downs with Tremaine Edmunds this year. He's kind of been up. He's had some high points and he's had some very low points.
Right.
Essentially, last game against New England. And I think we would all like to see Tremaine Edmunds have a bounce back game and shut a guy down like Leonard Fournette. Get in there. I mean, come on. He's got everything. He's 6'5". You know, he's like 240. He can move sideline to sideline. He's got everything you want in a middle linebacker. He's got everything you want. He's just got to put it together. And I really hope today is just kind of a game where we're like, okay, Tremaine can do it. Tremaine can do this and that in the third. We just want to see it together for a few games. And he's a guy who needs to step up to really rally this whole defense against a high-powered Bucs offense.
So you're getting on Tremaine. Tremaine needs to be that guy. So because Tremaine's been getting a lot of heat. It's you got people that are like, nah, man, you guys are tripping, and he's been all right. Or you guys people saying, yo, he's soft, get him out of here. He ain't that dude. Zach, are you in that camp of saying Edmunds is just underwhelming? I'm just not a fan. Or are you on the camp of saying, no, he is good. Don't you stress.
I think Edmunds is a decent linebacker. I mean, there's a reason he made 2 Pro Bowls in his career so far, and part of it's probably name recognition, but he's definitely done stuff to make you think he has that potential.
Right.
However, I kind of get the feeling that they're misusing him in the defense. I don't know if he's necessarily the best at a middle linebacker role because he's had that role for 3 years. He's been calling the plays. He's been doing that, but he always still seems to make poor reads, to not quite be in the right spot in coverage, in run stuffing. And I know some people suggest moving him to outside linebacker, and it may not be as simple as that, but I feel like maybe he'd be better off as an outside linebacker. And then you just get someone else to be the middle linebacker. Or like you think about when he wasn't playing and Milano and Klein were in, and Klein played that sort of middle linebacker role. Right. He was better. I would argue he was better in that role than Edmunds was. I feel like if you take some of that responsibility off of Edmunds as the play caller or in the middle as that guy who has to read the middle of the field, maybe he'd play a bit better. Maybe he'd reach his full potential. I just don't know. I think it's just hard to tell.
A lot of people don't know. It's okay to not know. This is where I'm going to slide it over to my man. Give it to me, man. Are you in the camp that he is worth the contract that he's probably going to get to remain with the Bills for years to come, or he's just not that guy?
I think he's good, not great, right? I would say that he is a well above average linebacker, and I'm glad that he's on our team because we can do a lot worse. I think a lot of people don't like when you talk about his age and his potential, but that is our 2 major factors of who he is as a player right now. Okay. He's young. And, he does have a lot more potential than what he's shown. And the reason that potential comes into play is because, like I said, he's good. So if he's already good and has potential, that means he has potential to be great. And I would like to see what that looks like in Buffalo for years to come. So I'm in the camp. I don't think he deserves like Darius Leonard money. I'm not going to go that far. I think you play out his 5th-year option, see what he does, see if he can, improve a little bit more. And we'll see what happens, after the 5th-year option is up.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm in the camp where if this specific player steps up and doesn't become a liability and can hold his own, we have a very good chance of staying with these Bucs, and that's Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson will be tested, and who's throwing the rock. He knows who each and every one of these players are on this team. He's like, oh, Dane Jackson's in there? Go ahead, Evan. Dane Jackson's in the building? All right, cool. So guess what? We're going to make sure that we handle everything that we can handle, and we're going to go at him. So Dane Jackson needs to step his game up and hold it down. And if he's good enough, I think we can really come in and play the field very well. But if he starts to breathe the seal that breaks, and they just start going at us, it's over. Turn that jersey around so they know.
Okay, it's a Godwin jersey. Don't get mad at me.
Okay.
So what do I got an actual question? What do I do what do I do with this jersey if the Bills lose today? I don't think they are. I bought this before Brady got there. It's a Chris Godwin jersey. I'm a big Chris Godwin guy. I bought this in 2019 after his breakout year.
First
of all, number 12 Godwin jersey. It's an old jersey.
You keep it. Yeah. That's what it is. You pay money for that shit. You keep that stuff. Yeah. Now you just can't wear it. You gotta wear that shit in the closet.
Public.
You bear that shit in the closet, but that's as far as it goes. But I mean, shit, you gotta do what you gotta do. But Godwin went off last week. He had like 15 receptions. I know because he killed me in fantasy. So he is going to be looking for more. He's going to be looking for blood. And Dane Jackson's got to be the guy that just kind of like, you know what? Not today, sucker. It's not going to be me. You're gonna have to take your licks somewhere else because I'm not about to let you expose me. But this is where Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer come in. Now, does that take away from Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer's play today? And this is the real question, because if you have Dane Jackson that's going to be on an island at times, can you leave him on an island? No. So that means you got to bring some help over. So does that change how we defend these Bucs? Evan, then the Justice. I'll go to you guys. Evan, does that change how we do things?
I don't know if that exactly changes how we do do things today. I think Sean McDermott trusts Dane Jackson and Levi Wallace, being literally a closet Bucs fan. I bought that in 2019.
That's actually
literally bought that in 2019. I'm wearing my Trey White jersey today. No, but I don't think that changes how we actually schematically run the defense today. I don't think we're going to purposely take Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer and play them differently to do that, because I think they trust Dane Jackson in that spot. And if there's a point in time where they need to do that, they will. But the way the run's been going, I don't think they're going to move Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer out of that box. They've been running like some single high safeties recently. So I think they're going to keep Poyer down by the box. They really kind of play with Fournette, and they're going to keep Hyde once in a while, over the top to kind of shadow Dane.
Okay.
But again, this is my opinion on it. If you got Dane Jackson, who's a young second-year corner, you want to have him as confident as can be. And I don't know if keeping a safety over the top is going to diminish his confidence, but I think Sean McDermott will be like, hey, Dane, we trust you. You're the guy. You're playing against these number one receivers. Go out there and really step up and be the guy we think you can be, because coming into camp, it was a big debate. Levi Wallace or Dane Jackson, who's the cornerback number 2? Well, as of right now, Dane Jackson is the cornerback number 2. And today he's going to have to show that. And I think Sean McDermott's going to trust him, like I mentioned earlier. He's going to give him that role early on. And if it doesn't work out, they can switch up and keep Hyde or Poyer on the side of Dane Jackson.
Justin, talk to me, man. Hey, you feel good or what?
I kind of, excuse me. I kind of feel like even more important than Dane Jackson is going to be Ed Oliver, and I'm not sure if it's going to be Harrison Phillips or Justin Zimmer, or who's going to be, the opposite defensive tackle with Star out. But I feel like Ed Oliver and whoever plays opposite him are going to be the most important defenders today. We know that Tom Brady, one of his biggest weaknesses, is pressure up the middle. For a non-athletic quarterback, Tom Brady is amazing at reestablishing the pocket. So edge rushers don't tend to mess him up too much. Yeah. Exactly. He can just step up and deliver a beautiful pass. And so I feel like if Ed Oliver and Harrison Phillips or whoever can create pressure up the middle, they're going to make life very difficult for him, which is going to create more opportunities for Levi Wallace's, Dane Jackson, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, and, hopefully create some turnovers. Not only that, but, Tom Brady isn't handing the ball off on a stretch too often. Typically whenever it's a Tom Brady led offense, they're pulling a guard and they're running right up the middle on you. And so, like I said, they're going to have to be aware. They're going to have to be ready for that. And they're going to have to control the middle of the field, which has been our weakness for a little while now. So they got to be ready for it today because it's going to be all on them.
It is definitely going to be all on them. So, and here's the thing. And here's my take on what you said. You're right with that. You want to get to Tom Brady up the freaking middle. We just don't have the guys. Zimmer's on IR, so that's not going to happen. And then you got Efe Obada just coming in. So he's going to be reestablished. And he's not a bad pass rusher either. So Efe Obada is a big boy. He can make some things happen. But they got a hell of a damn line. They got a fortress of a line. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some creativity for us to get to him. So this is part of the segment that I need bold takes from each and every one of you guys. I need a bold take. Zach, I'm going to start with you, man. Give me your bold take as to what's going to happen today. Bold prediction. What do you got?
Well, if you want a bold prediction, I will say Gabriel Davis gets 102 touchdowns.
Okay, so you get him in a buck and two. Okay, a buck and 2 tutties. Evan, what do you got for bold prediction today, bro?
Matt Breida, Isaiah McKenzie, or Marcus Stevenson breaks off a 60-plus yard gain, whether that being for a touchdown or a gain itself. I don't know what they're going to use, if it's end around or just stretches or just toss plays, but one of those 3 guys are big 3 factors in the speed department. One of those guys are going to break a big play and give this offense some juice.
I'm not letting you get off the. You can't just get one of those 3. Give me one specific.
Okay. I want to say Breida. I'm jumping on the Breida train today. I want to say Breida's going to break off a big run. I don't know how. I don't know where. I don't know when. But I think Matt Breida can break off a big run today if we get some good blocks in front.
Just talk to us, man. What do you got?
With John Feliciano back, and I never thought I'd say this, but I think that he has been the missing link for our offensive line, which is odd because I didn't want him back this season. But hey, here we are. I think we get 100 yards rushing for Devin Singletary today.
100 yards for Devin Singletary. That's bold.
Yeah, that's bold.
Bold as it gets. That's like trying to find a diamond.
Listen, we might get that diamond today. Here's my bold prediction today, man. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as we may think. I don't know why. I think we're still 7 receivers is great, but I just don't think that we are good. It's going to be a high scoring. This is going to be our defense is having to step up again, and you see how Jordan Poyer has been talking. Hey, you guys keep mentioning Godwin. You guys keep mentioning Evans. You guys, we got dogs on this side too. So they're there to prove something, especially last week when they did their job by holding the Patriots to 14 points. I know a lot of people want to talk about, but y'all let up 200 plus yards. The elements, strictly the elements, because we know the Pats are not going to be able to do the same thing when we play them again. So this defense is going to be hungry. They're going to be looking to create some stops. And here's the thing. We're going to take one back to the house on top of us having a low-scoring game. So I think they scored defensively on that ball. A lot of people think it's going to be like a 30-plus game. I don't think it's going to be up there. I think it's going to be in the 20s. I don't think it's high-scoring for these 2 offenses, in my opinion. But this defense is going to step up. Who takes the ball to the end zone is the question. Funny enough, I think it's going to be a big hoggy. And I would love to see Ed Oliver be the one that takes one to the house. Strip sack like my guy Myles Garrett did this afternoon. Strip sack, take it to the house, and give that defense that boost. And then now the offense can start going. So that being said, I need score predictions before we get out of here. What do y'all got? Evan, you're hitting your head like this. Something's going on. What do you see?
Okay, I'm watching the Browns-Ravens game right now. It was 24-15. The Ravens went down and scored. I don't know if they exactly went for 2 or not, but they just recovered an onside. Yeah, they just recovered an onside kick. And they have the ball with 1:11 left, down 24-22. And it's 2nd and 10 right now. But that's why I've been shocked for the last about minute. They're at their own 41. They're about 20-ish yards away from field goal range with Justin Tucker. It doesn't really matter. kick a 70-yarder. He might make it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Oh, never mind. He's got sacked.
You know it's gonna happen. But,
Okay, score prediction.
Score predictions. I need score predictions. Well, we got one right now. Already from my guy, official contrast is here. Bills are gonna need to grind a low score, 26-18. I don't mind that score actually.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lower-ish scoring game. Whether that being, I mean, what do we expect from a Bills low scoring game? This offense can put up 31, and we kind of think that's a low scoring game nowadays with the way the NFL is going. So, I mean, this game could easily be a 27-25 contest. It could be a 27-24 contest. It could be anything around that type of score. I honestly think this is the one game the Bills need to grind out and show, hey, we got the guys who can grind out games against really good teams, because we haven't really been able to do that this year. So I think the Bills are going to go into Tampa. They're going to a close game, 27-25, whether that being a last-second touchdown, a last-second field goal from Bass. It's going to be a game we're grinding out, going up against one of the better teams in the NFL. 27-25, Bills win. Let's go, Buffalo, baby.
27-25. I like that score. Zach, what do you got?
Well, my attitude coming into this show was very much like Z-Bot earlier when he posted that clip from Family Guy where it was like, you got to have low expectations and just hope for the best, but be pleasantly surprised. So, I mean, after talking to you guys, I do feel a little better about it, but I can't in good conscience pick the Bills to win right away. I can't pick them to win this game. I'm going to say Bucks 31-21.
31-21. I typically would have been on your side to do that, but in
here you go.
Because there you go. Because in light of what we need to happen, I have to pick the Bills. You know what I'm saying? And you guys already know I didn't feel good about the game last week. I don't feel good about it this week. But because we need this win, we need it, because we lose this one and another one, we might be saying bye-bye to playoff hopes, right? And a lot of people are like, no, we lose 3. Fam, we lose this one, and we lose to the Pats again, it's a wrap. It's over with. We're happy. We're hoping that somebody else wins. So to me, I'm going to stick with the score that I had. I think it's going to be 26-24. I think 28-26, I said, is what the score is going to be. I think it's just going to be defense is what really brings us over the edge and makes a play happen. We win 28-26, but I still don't feel great about it. I don't feel great. But these Bills need it. And when your back is against the wall and you're desperate for a win, you do what you got to do. And the trend is we've lost one, won one, lost one, won one, lost one, we just lost one. We got to win one. And now we stack the W's and we go from there. And let's I remind you, the 7-5 Bucks were just struggling as well last year. And then they went on a freaking run, right? So who better to go on a run against the same Bucks that went and won the damn Super Bowl last year? Beat the Bucks. Now you beat a prominent team, and now you take it to the freaking Falcons. Who we play? The Panthers, and then we're back again in Foxborough. That's a 3-game stretch that we need and we can possibly get. But that's it for me. That's it for us. I hope you guys enjoy the game. The game's going to be starting, like 10, 15 minutes?
Cleveland just won.
Any last words from my guy, Zach?
All I just got to say is, again, hope for the best. I don't have much expectations.
There we go.
Last thing I will say, though, is look out for that yellow hanky, because apparently the refs today may throw a lot of them.
There you go. Look out for the yellow hankies. Evan, what you got? Last words.
Yes. Hopeful news. The Ravens just lost to the Browns. That's some encouraging news. Same with the Raiders. They just got knocked off. So going forward, if the Bills do end up winning this game, that is way more encouraging news, because a couple of the guys in the AFC East race, or the AFC race in general, aren't as good as we might have thought. I mean, Lamar Jackson's out. We don't know how long he'll be out for. He got downgraded to out really quickly. That ankle could be something that we need to monitor going forward, and that will put the Ravens in some jeopardy. So that's not good news in general, because Lamar Jackson's an exciting player to watch, but kind of good news for the rest of the Bills organization.
And I hope you guys paid attention to the freaking Chiefs, because the Chiefs are rolling. They roasted the Raiders today. So they're back on feeling really good right now. Justin, what you got, man? Last words. And let people know where they can find you, man, because I didn't really get a good chance to introduce you, man. So let people know where they can find you, where your stuff is at, and the last words for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say this: of the 5 Bills losses this season, they beat themselves 4 times. So I still believe we're one of the best teams in the NFL, and I think, hopefully we can go out there and prove that today. But you guys can follow me at JA17MVP on Twitter. Rico, you are one of the people that made me want to do this, so I really appreciate the opportunity for you, letting me come on your show. Yeah, it was a pleasure. And Zach, you know me, man. So, Evan, I haven't got a chance to meet you yet, but it's good talking to you, bro.
Yeah, you as well, man. It was a great conversation. Love having you on the show.
No doubt about it. Listen, man, Justice, we're gonna do this again, man. We're gonna chop it up. So whenever I'll be more prompt and give you early heads up this time. But yeah, we're gonna make it work. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. We need a big, huge win. I know there's some Bucks fans watching right now. I know there's some Pats fans that have been watching this whole time. I know y'all won last week. Enjoy the win. Y'all felt good. Y'all felt that you put 14 points and y'all feel like you on top of the world. Cool. For now, enjoy the AFC East Cup. You know what I mean? Make it looking good for now because we had it last year. You guys can take it back for now, and then we see you guys again, and we're gonna see if you're gonna run that shit 46, 50 times. That shit gonna happen, and I hate the damn Pats, so I had to give it to them. But I don't mind the fans. The fans are not so bad. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe,
Some Bills fans. Some Bills fans need to just chill out. Stop being so soft and taking everything so damn literal. I mean, it's just fandom. That's how fandom shit works. Yeah. But anyway, that's it for us. It's the Buffalo Fanatics. It's the pregame show. Enjoy the game. We need a big-ass win, fellas. I will see you guys during the week, and then you guys join us afterwards. We got the post game. It's the Rico report. Yo, I'm gonna be heated. We don't want to see Rated R Rico back at it again. We don't want that. I don't want him. I'm trying to retire him for the rest of the year. So let's get some dubs. Let's get some wins. So we'll talk to you guys, and until next time, we are out. Go Bills.
Let's go Bills, baby. Bills by $1 billion.
Peace.